Hailing frequencies open, and welcome to Star Trek Discoverage, the live podcast that boldly goes into excruciating detail about this week's episode of Star Trek Picard. I'm your host, Aaron Coker, aka Caliban, and oh boy, another Brent Spiner character. Joining me on the show, as usual, is my co-host. She's also the co-host of the Generations Geek podcast, a more or less family-friendly celebration of geekdom. It's Ella Pearson. Ella, welcome back to Discoverage.
Thank you.
And welcome to the audience as well, and thanks for suffering with us through some technical difficulties. Sometimes the only solution is turn it off, turn it back on again, which is something that Brent Spiner has had to deal with data, of course. He's rebooted himself, at least when he was infected with the Iconian probe. He turned it off, turned it back on again. He was okay. Welcome to the show, everybody, and how are you doing? Usually we talk about news at the start of the show. There's no real news, you know. Star Trek is just clicking along like it usually does. What's the news in your neck of the woods?
I guess I was having some trouble with a tire on my car this week. I had it fixed.
Uh-oh.
Next day, it's gone. It's going flat. I take it back. Here's what happened. I had the tire fixed. It was the valve the first day, and then the same day or the next day, I ran over a nail.
Oh, okay.
So this is the big.
Who's putting these
household.
nails in the street?
The big gossip of my household is running over the nail. How about you?
Where do these nails come from? There's just a truck driving around throwing nails everywhere.
As Americans.
It's like a Mario Kart level.
Who is putting these nails in our roads?
One time I ran over like a hook, like a metal hook. And so it was like, I don't know what it went to, almost like a trailer hitch. And it just sort of like hooked in and just carved into the thing, blew out immediately. And that was that. So I feel for you, but you got it fixed okay though, right?
Yeah, supposedly now. I thought it was fixed the first day.
Yeah.
Ran over the nail the second day. Now I think it's fixed. They gave me a big discount on labor. I think he discounted my labor like 50%. He was like, I feel bad because I was there like 2 days before.
Oh, okay.
I was like, thank you.
I'll take whatever you can get. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Well, let's talk about the world of Star Trek. Of course, that's what we're here to do. We're going to jump right in because there's a lot to talk about in this episode. We've seen the 6th episode of the 3rd season of Star Trek Picard tonight. It's an episode called The Bounty, and we're here to talk all about it. But first, as always, a warning. We're setting a course for the spoiler zone listeners, so if you haven't seen the episode, spoilers are incoming. The official synopsis for The Bounty is... some stuff happens in it. Basically, a lot of stuff happens. We're going to talk about that as we go on. But it was written by Christopher Monfett and directed by Dan Liu, and no start date for this episode. But obviously, they all take place one right after the other. Here's some facts about the episode, and this is interesting. You've got the first appearance after a long time since Geordi LaForge. For Geordi LaForge, since Star Trek Nemesis, which was 21 years ago. Don't think about it. It's also the first time that the majority of the bridge crew has been together in the same episode since Star Trek Nemesis, all those years ago. This is Michael Dorn's 278th episode of Star Trek, and that is a record, and it is an ongoing record. So that's incredible. What's he going to do when he hits the big 300? You know, they're going to give him a golden bat'leth or something like that. Look forward.
Prune juice he won't drink.
You're right. Yeah, some finely aged prune juice. And this episode also marks the first time that Star Trek regulars from 3 different series have been together on a series.
Wow.
Next Gen, DS9, and Voyager. So don't tell me this is just TNG reunion. This is a little bit of everything here. DS9 included. So, what'd you think? What'd you think about the episode, The Bounty?
I thought it was okay. I'm a little confused. I wish that they hadn't.
Me too. I'm so glad you said that. I got no idea what's going on. We're going to talk about it. Go ahead.
Because I was watching and to my roommate, I was like, I think I have to start this episode over. I don't know what's going on. I had, as I often do, I had a good time despite being a little confused. I think and I hate to say it, but I have to be honest. I have to tell the people. I think I'm pretty disappointed that they brought the Data-like android back. It's not Data. We said goodbye to Data in the first season.
Yeah.
to bring him back, I always love seeing Brent Spiner. I love Data, but it feels like we said goodbye to Data already.
Yeah.
And bringing him back feels really forced, especially when it's not Data. And the characters kept saying, and my roommate walked in halfway through the episode. I turned to her and I said, "That's not Data.
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing." Um, so that I think is a little frustrating to me because so far, in Picard, I think that was one of my favorite like emotional bits is that line with Data in the first season, and so it feels a little rough.
Having him go to his reward as it was in the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And so like bringing him back feels a bit. It just feels like forced. It feels weird. Like I don't know.
That's
So, what did you think?
That's a good emotional observation. An observation that I would make is that it's, I mean, obviously, like you said, it's Brent Spiner. We're attached to him. We want, that performer, that character back in some way. But why is he special? He's special because we all saw the Melinda Snodgrass episode. We agree that he's sentient. We care about him. And sure, he's unique, but we would like to extend that specialness to other things. We've even got our main character is a positronic being. So we believe in artificial life at this point. But you've got the whole thing with the synths, which they reference, and they did tonight, but we haven't done anything. We haven't really dealt with that. Maybe this isn't the place to do that. You've got poor B4, who we see in pieces in this episode, and they're like, great, we got this new guy. B4 is like, take me with you, take me with you. Like, he's not as functioning as Data, but he's still, a sentient being. No, thumbs down. And then Moriarty himself, they saved him because he was a self-aware being. And now, like Lando Calrissian's robot in the movie Solo, he is trapped forever doing some job for other people in this computer, and they're just like, let's get out of here. And he's like, oh, well, I hope they reboot the nanny. Like, he's just stuck there. So, like, it's cool that they got Data back, but I can't believe they keep passing all these chances to liberate these other cybernetic or artificial beings. But it does just seem like, and I think you'd agree, it's just another way to get Brent Spiner back in here. Which,
Yeah.
I'm all for. But now it's like, or B4. I will be for. But now it's like he's Lol, he's Lore, he's Data, he's, I don't know, Talking Tina. Like, what else is he?
It just is also like, it seems like he's not anything. Like, he doesn't seem like he's functioning. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
It's not Data. It's going to be an entirely different thing. It's a new person. We don't know what it is.
He's a song and dance man.
Be like, God, what was that horrible movie with James McAvoy? Switch or something, where he has the personalities.
Jimmy Smits? Switch?
What was it? I just don't remember what it was called. I don't know. It was some horrible movie with James McAvoy. Where he was
Oh, wait.
with, like,
what was it called?
I don't know. It doesn't matter because it was bad. But like, just to have him be switching between the personalities, I'm like, okay, so he's not a new thing at all. He's like bits.
Yeah.
And
well,
even the
bits anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Even the bits that we like, the bit of him that's Data is still not Data. It just is a robot that recognizes.
Split. Sorry.
Switch. I was close.
I was doing a Clash thing. No. Yeah. It was Split. Was the sorry? Go ahead.
Yeah. No, just that even the bit that is Data is not Data.
Yeah.
It's like a USB drive.
Yeah. Which means that we, even like there were rumblings that, maybe we could turn B4 into Data. I think in the comic series they've done that. Like which
really?
I guess they're not canon. Yeah, there's a new comic series where Data's in it, and it's like he eventually basically became like took over B4 or like merged with him, and so that's Data. But yeah, like they just keep bringing these characters out of remove, and you're right. At some point, it's like just let him die.
And that's what I thought we did in the first season. That's what I felt like we'd be doing to the rest of the characters this season, whether or not they died.
Brent Spiner's like, I kind of like having equity health insurance.
Having fun.
Yeah,
a
right.
Classic Star Trek move.
Well, I wouldn't normally bring this up right now, but since we're talking about letting characters be dead, let's just talk about it. What's going on? What's going on with the body of James T. Kirk or a James T. Kirk in the Daystrom station? What's that all about? What is that? What's going on?
Did I miss something?
You missed something. Yeah. There's a bunch of Easter eggs as they're going through because this is just like, oh, this is just where you do Easter eggs. So we got the a Genesis device because we need to keep that around. There's, the Tribble. And I don't know if they're just telling us something about Tribbles or if this is like a mirror universe Tribble.
I felt like
Um,
it was a new, like they bred the Tribble.
Oh yeah, they bred a killer Tribble. I can see
Yeah.
that. There was the entire fleet museum, Eagle Moss Station. It's like, oh, here's all the shit. Get your ships, everybody, and all the ships that we saw. And then there was one part where a guy goes, "Huh," and just keeps walking. It's like, I mean, maybe it was Raffi. I guess she wouldn't care if it was Raffi, but like, and it says, "Oh, James T. Kirk, cryopreservation or whatever." So they've got James T. Kirk on board that thing.
They've got his body on ice in the museum.
That's what it said. That's what it said. I don't know. Here's what I think. While you become unshook, here's my idea. This is clearly like an attempt for them to like dip the toe in a little bit because now they're gonna see us. They're gonna see people online reacting to this, and they go, people like it. Okay, we're gonna do that Paul Wesley Kirk series or whatever. And they want to see what people think. People don't like it. Maybe okay, it's just a fun thing. Just don't worry about it. But like, I'm always confused because this episode, more than any other episodes in this nostalgia series and season, is a nostalgia episode. Remember when we were worried that this thing wouldn't be accessible to new fans? And I know that there's like different shows. This is definitely like not the new fan show, but this is all just like winks and nudges to the old continuum. And it's like, are we trying to move forward? Like, what's happening here? Is that why we can't get Star Trek 4? Because Star Trek 4 is part of the Kelvin universe, which is for the new fans, and like we've given up on the new fans. Clearly, the old fans can keep us going. What's your opinion on what I just said?
I
Because you span both. You are a new person. You got that new person smell, but you're also, a
the
fan of the entire series, the whole franchise.
I'm like a double agent. I'm young enough to be a new.
We can get you in there and tell us what they think. Yeah.
Um, I guess I've never. I guess because I grew up with Star Trek, it's never felt like I came into it like that.
Yeah.
I do love the Kelvin movies. I guess I was never that concerned about this Picard specifically being accessible to new fans because if you haven't seen Next Gen, you're just not going to want to watch this show.
It'll definitely have a smaller
stop.
impact for you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like full stop. You're just not going to want to, because what do you care?
He's whistling. What? Pop goes the weasel.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's just like how I imagine it, and even me, like, I love Next Gen, even though it is the series I've seen the least. I guess I've been saying that I have to take that back. I think Enterprise is the one I've seen the least because I've seen it straight through one time.
Okay.
So I've seen every episode one time, and I definitely have seen.
You're such a fan that you're like, I don't know it quite as good. I've seen every episode, but I don't. I don't feel. There are people, and I'm not
an expert.
We're not here to gatekeep, fandom at all. You can watch as much as you want and love it and hate it or whatever. But like, there are people who are like diehard Trek fans, and they didn't see all of Enterprise. Shame. Or they have, like you said, they've seen a lot of TNG and they've seen some other stuff and went, maybe not for me. So that's fine.
It also is funny. I'm used to being around people, Star Trek fans, who have seen every episode like 1 million times and know all the episodes by heart. So I'm like, I don't know. I've only seen it once. I've seen every episode.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know. I am disappointed with the data thing this episode, but it's like, and I know they're making it as a little kiss on the forehead goodbye to these characters.
Yeah.
I don't know. This episode, I was a bit more disappointed. I think just because, and maybe just because I've always loved Data. Mm-hmm. So it was like a little personal where I was like, he's dead. Why are you showing me his face? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't understand. Is he like techno-organic or something like that? Because they keep...
Yeah.
I don't think they figured it out maybe when they wrote this. Like
he's Data. better.
Yeah, he's Data, and he's a human. Crusher says it's like, okay, I trust her. She's the doctor, but like, what does that
Thank God
mean?
he'll
And
let's rerun Measure of a Man.
yeah, right. Yeah. Oh no, all the precedents don't work anymore. We have to have a new court case.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's talk about strange beings that we don't understand. The changelings. The changelings are back. It's cool that the changelings are back. I'll give you that. And they give you a little idea
Fun.
about why they're back or what's going on. I don't think they get really into it, but they imply that the war combined with like you guys tried to poison us and kill it, genocide us with the virus. There's definitely some changelings that weren't okay with that. I would say that the whole point of having a Great Link is that that goes against. But we know that they can be individuals. Odo was at Laz was an individual, so there are a couple that are individuals, and we don't know where they are. But like the thing about changelings is that like they were cool because they could do anything. Like one changeling could kill a whole bunch of people, and also they wouldn't even have to kill you because they could be you, make your ship blow up. If there was one of them around, it would be a really big problem. Well, Jack can just like, Jason Bourne four of them, and they don't even bother to turn into a bird or something. I don't know if these changelings are different because they're more human. Have they limited themselves in some way by becoming less detectable? I don't know. I think it's weird. When I read that thing that said that he wanted to use the showrunner wanted to use the throat bugs, it made a lot more sense. And I feel like at that point maybe everything's written once you know where you want to go, and so you go, well, they're just changelings, and I don't know. We don't want to pay for them to be goo every week. Um, but I just don't. I don't feel yet like A, that they're using them to their best potential, and B, I still don't really know what they want. They mentioned vengeance tonight. I guess I get that, but like, what are they really after?
I feel like part of that is like by design though. It's like the characters don't know yet what's going on, so we
Yeah,
don't either. It's like, which maybe is part of, maybe it just feels more confusing than we want it to be. Maybe that's part of the disconnect, part of the problem. But
yeah. I think it's modern TV writing too. It's like, oh, we got to keep everything secret forever, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't understand why. Like when I think of like the biggest vengeance story in Star Trek, it's the Wrath of Khan, right? And like we are with Khan the entire time. We're with Kirk and Spock, and we're with
Mm-hmm.
Khan the whole time. And Khan comes out and gives you an entire speech about why he's so pissed off. And so the stakes are set, and we know what it is. And it's just like it's not Star Trek's fault because everybody does it now. But it's like this cheap thing to, I guess, keep people watching, where every week they just go, "Oh, Amanda Plummer, she's getting really mad." And Amanda Plummer has not been on this show very much, and I've had my doubts about her, but she was great tonight. Like they give her a speech and she can nail that and really deliver that speech.
Mm-hmm.
But the speech didn't tell us anything. It was just her going like, we're gonna do this and something vengeance and it's a thing. Shoot that guy like Star Trek 3. And smoke? How do changelings smoke? What are they
I was
smoking?
saying today, I was like, is it weed? Is
Don't
it
will they
future
dry out?
weed? Like,
Yeah.
what? Cause she's holding it like a joint. I'm like, what is? She's holding
Yeah,
like a
she's
joint, but
kind of
she's got a little hole.
rolling
I'm
it a
like,
little
what's
bit.
going on? She's like,
Yeah. So
hmm.
all
She's
things.
she's she's evil coded. She's a villain, so she's
Yeah.
doing drugs.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All things I know they'll be revealed, but it's just like just tell us. What about all the later DS9 things where we're literally following Damar and Dukat and Wynn and all these characters? We see what they're doing. Like, what if Wynn just jumped out right at season 7, episode 24, and is like, "Ha ha! I got the Prophet Parath book." It's like, what? No, we see all that, and I don't know. Um, Okay, a lot of more crazy things happening in the episode. So we move forward a little bit more with Jack and learn. I think as some people had suggested online that he is suffering some effects. We think of the Irumodic syndrome that he inherited from Picard. Now, if that makes him a door open and a lady go, "Come home," I don't know, but he is seeing things.
um, should I have a vivid memory of this? I felt like I got lost right away when they started talking about that.
Okay, I'll try to help if I can. I don't know.
Like, I don't remember it like at all. Like, was this in Next Gen? Am I forgetting something big?
So Picard had. Now you got me. You've seen all. I've seen all of TNG 4 times. I don't know. No, he had Irumodic syndrome which they introduced in All Good Things, right? Because they wanted Picard to be older. I don't know. People get older and they get a little, dotty, but they wanted him to be older but be kind of suffering from delusions. So when he's talking to Q in the future timeline, people are like, Picard, you know what you're talking about. And then that kind of became, they've hit this a couple times in the Picard show because in the first season, he succumbs supposedly to Aromatic syndrome, right? That's why he gets the new body anyway, even though I'd argue he's like 95. I love in the conversation that Jack's like, how'd you get through it? Well, I lived for 75 years and then I died. It's just like, oh boy, what a bad disease. Um, but supposedly, yeah, the side effects are supposed to be, dementia or hallucinations. And so when Crusher, who is, I want to remind you, former chief medical officer, USS Enterprise flagship, former director, Starfleet Medical. Yeah, my kid just talked to the air when he was a kid, and I thought, well, isn't he cute? Oh, he's so creative.
He's so smart.
He's eating his Cheerios, just like, ooh, give him a little thing. Oh, he's got the thing. Anyway, so do you think that is like just a dodge? Like if they're just saying like, oh, well, he's got a thing, or do you think that somehow the Aromatic syndrome and whatever the thing is connected? The red stuff.
I mean, it's gotta be it. It can't just be hallucinations. Like it has to be something or mean something.
There's your twist.
Otherwise,
what if it was that?
It's just, um, but I don't know what it could mean or why, unless it's connected to the changelings somehow.
Yeah.
Like that but all I can think of is like the red vine from War of the Worlds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which I don't know if they're referencing that, but that it does very familiar. I almost am certain now after tonight's episode, maybe they got it all out of their system, but after tonight's episode, I'm almost positive that it's something that we have seen before in TNG. So we could probably ask ChatGPT to watch all of TNG and then just spit out, give us 50 things. And then when something happens in the show, okay, it's not that. Okay, nope, it's not the binars or whatever. Yeah. Okay, well, that's an open question still. What else happened in the episode? Of course, Geordie LaForge returns. What'd you think about Geordie LaForge at this age? And what'd you think about his dialogue, or not his dialogue, but his relationship between his two daughters and with each other?
I thought it was great. I mean, I wish it's hard when they're doing this in like one episode to capture like a father-daughter relationship where we as an audience don't know the daughters that well, if at all, and also don't know Geordie as a character at this age as a father at all.
Yeah.
So I feel like to compress it all, like I felt like it was a little bit, the dialogue was a bit stilted sometimes. But I love seeing I mean, LeVar Burton's voice is so, and I think part of this is because I was being shown Reading Rainbow as a kid at school.
Yeah.
And then I would go home and I'd watch Star Trek. So it's like his voice, like, it makes me feel like a sleeper agent. Where, like, I was having, like, a stressful day today. Yeah. I was having, like, a stressful day today with the car. And then I, like, went home. And the second that I heard his voice, I was like, oh, my God. So just, like, whenever he's on screen, I feel fantastic. But it's hard. I wish that we had more time with all these characters. I don't know. I thought it was a good I thought it was interesting to see, like, okay, so he has the one daughter that's a bit more like him and the one daughter that is, they're having some conflicts. I think that's way more interesting than her being like, finally, my dad is here. My superstar dad, my famous dad's here. Thank God. That's like, that would have been a bit whatever, but
what do you think? There was, I think that, and again, I have to admit that I don't like watch a lot of TV that's come out like in the past decade. So I'm positive now that just all long running shows are written like this. But something that really gets me is like, either they don't know how to do a cliffhanger or they've got too many cliffhangers, because there was like the last 3 or 4 act breaks, I was like, whew, oh, that was a bear. I don't know what's going. Oh nope, still going. It's still going. Okay, all right, it's still going.
Yeah.
And they're like,
That's how
Captain
I felt too.
Picard's
At this point,
body.
like,
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Right, yeah, and it just kept going. And they had gotten away from the thing. They zoomed away, and guys were shooting at them, and they had the cloaking device and all that stuff. And you're like, wow, what a great way to like end it. And like, okay, next week. But then it's like, Jack's got to come in. You know, Dad, we got to do this, got to do that. It's like, oh yeah, this I recognize this from Discovery. They'll get out of whatever it is, and then they have to have the talk down, you know, a little cool down with a little conversation, and go, you know, we're gonna have a lot of more adventures in the future. We sure are. In credits, it's like, remember when sometimes Star Trek would just remember when the Enterprise would just kind of go and just kind of pull away, and then the blue names would come up because there's just nothing else to say. They've either succeeded or haven't succeeded.
Episode's over. Yep.
Yeah, and this is like, you know, they're really packing them in. But despite packing them in, I agree that I feel like some of this stuff gets shortchanged still. And I don't know what the fix is other to try to put things in other episodes. Because you get Worf being reunited with the TNG crews back together for the most part. You get everybody coming back together. And there's that scene where he's like, I'm back, sir. And they go, oh, Mr. Worf, great. And then Seven and Raffi are talking. And it's like, I want them to talk. But take that and put that in a different scene, right? Like, this is, get out of here. This is the TNG crew. And so that they didn't do a whole lot with that. Then Seven and Raffi did get to talk to each other. And somebody else came in and went, we got to do something else. And then they just ran off and did that. And it's just like, you know, let them have these moments. You know, I think we've earned them at this point. Everybody's earned it.
I think also though at this point the show is not and was kind of never about Seven or Raffi. You know what I mean? Like it's Picard. We've been waiting for these characters.
Yeah.
And I think that like their whole dating arc in general, I don't know.
Yeah, but there's a podcast for that or something. But there's 4 episodes, I think, to put a little more in there.
Yeah.
I did appreciate, and again, this is another open-faced compliment sandwich. I don't know if the bread is the criticism or the meat is the criticism, but I liked having Shaw come in and be like, oh my God, this is Jordan LaForge. I just want to meet you. Geeking out, which, do they have that word? We don't even bother with that anymore. But it reminded me, oh yeah, Shaw's in this. Like, why didn't he go down to the station?
Captain.
Like, yeah, right. Why isn't he like doing stuff? Like, they've got too many characters at this point. I don't know. What else? Did you? Okay, so obviously the show wants us to think that Jack and I can't remember her name now, Sydney, are like. But did you get a little Jack and Seven vibe? I thought Jack was doing pretty well with Seven.
I didn't. But
oh
that
no!
Would be funny.
Okay, all right.
That would be hilarious.
Wishful thinking on my part, but
maybe I just didn't. Maybe it just didn't even occur to me
because they're having a chat about identity and stuff like that. But I don't know if it's just like this young 24, 23-year-old man in his way. But I just thought like, you know, not a lot of people can make Seven, you know, kind of light up like that. And I was like, oh,
you know, this is true. You're right about this. This is true.
Yeah.
I guess I thought. I mean, maybe because the Jack Sydney thing would be a bit obvious, like when they're like. When they realize the kids have stolen the thing and they go, Jack. I was like, it's a bit obvious, but it is funny.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Yeah. And she's been crashing speeders her whole life, so.
Yeah.
Somebody's a Star Wars fan.
I was gonna say.
Okay, let's get to it. Picard's body. Why do they have Picard's body?
Why do they have bodies in a museum? It's giving. So sorry. It's giving, like, the British Museum. Like it's not good.
Or like relic vibes. You know, you go to a church in Prague or something like that, and they've got an old dried out saint in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know why the Federation. We'll never know why the Federation. Here's why: the Federation was keeping them so the bad guys could steal it. So what do the bad guys want from it?
This, I have no idea. Why would they? Why? It doesn't make it. They already are changelings, so they could, if they wanted to morph into a version of Picard, they could.
Yeah. They really don't cremate in the 25th century. Don't you think? Just put you in the replicator. Doop, done.
Not when you're famous.
I guess not. And every time we see somebody die because of Star Trek 2, God damn you, Nicholas Meyer. We have to have that scene where they shoot the guy out of the torpedo tube.
Yeah.
What's the state of the Neptune society in the 25th century? That's what I need to know. But anyway, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
also,
so
how many bodies are shooting around in coffins in space?
right. Yeah. Exactly. You think that you got to be careful. Someday you're gonna fly in a micro
They're gonna hit
meteorite.
the like
That's a
what,
coffin
what
is
hit
gonna.
the ship? Yeah, sir, it's just a coffin.
Lower decks will do it. There you go, Mike McMahon. That's yours. You can have that. Um, they run into Ira Graves out there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's a TNG reference. Maybe okay. So we're talking about genetics, and I haven't been keeping track because I just want to enjoy it. But I've seen other people talk about like, oh, there's a little bit of Pop Goes the Weasel in the theme at the end, and they show you like the readouts at the end, and on the readouts in the ending credits, there is like base pairs DNA. So we've got they need Picard's body, probably his genome or his DNA. He's got a genetic disease. He's got a child who's got this disease, and things are going on. What's the connection?
I mean, is it a profit bit? Is it a Cisco bit? Like, are the hallucinations something? Is the disease something that we don't think it is?
Ironic disease was never a disease. It was some latent ability to you have mutant powers or something like that.
Yeah. This is how we will enter the X-Men universe from the Star Trek universe.
Wait a minute. We got two bald guys. That's too many bald guys. Yeah, I don't know. I used to have a lot more fun guessing at this stuff. Now I'm just like, I'll be here next week. There's going to be an episode next week.
7 years?
Yeah, that's true. We have to. We'll never get a chance. This is our last chance to do this, to speculate on TNG. And they're stumping me. I never thought they would have killed Ro, but this is where we are. Anything else you can think of? I took a lot of notes. Look at my notes.
No, I mean I'm a bit confused.
Okay, so
Stumped.
gather your wits and let's talk about
Done.
what. There's no. I mean, we've been talking about theories, but let's put the board up. Let's get the Deadpool up here.
The red yarn.
Who's gonna die?
Oh. Jack.
Jack. Okay, Jack's gonna die. Do you think they killed Ro to show us like, oh, get ready, we're gonna kill people, or like, who's the only person that we could both kill? Okay, all right, yeah, that we could kill, but people would also go, aw. Kill Data again. I see in the chat. Yeah.
I kind of felt like Jack because then Picard could be like, and I never knew my son. And well,
we get one more big scene out of Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. He's holding his son. He's like, I'm so sorry.
No, he was so young.
No, he looks so young.
He looks so young for his age.
Boy.
I'm trying to think of who.
That actor has aged fantastic. He looks amazing.
Oh no, he
doesn't look 24.
No, he looks great though. I'm trying to think who they could get away with killing without being killed.
I mean, Sydney, like
He's got two daughters. He's got two daughters.
One's expendable. I mean, I think they're for sure going to kill someone in the original cast, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think so.
Geordi? Maybe Geordi.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think, okay, if you're not going to kill Sir Patrick Stewart because it's his show, I think they'd kill Riker. But it seems like they have so many plans for Riker with, I mean, he's directing, obviously, but I mean, the character is on Lower Decks. There's still chatter about a Titan show.
I felt like they wouldn't do Riker Troy.
Somebody says Wesley in chat. Yeah. Just bring him. He's just eating a sandwich. We cut to him. He's like, he chokes and dies. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, good one. Sorry, go ahead.
I guess I thought that they wouldn't sort of have the guts to kill Riker or Troy, because then we'd have to watch the other one, the grief of a spouse. That seemed like a bit intense for this show. Maybe they're gonna do exactly that, and
that's why you do it though. Yeah,
we can cut back to me saying they wouldn't do that because that'd be too sad.
Kestra.
But
It's just like,
The look on your face, you were like, oh, I hope they do kill one of them.
no, they can't kill Kestra. Although I was gonna say, like in one of the 14 cliffhangers, the final one is, yeah, we got Troy, and like Troy's not a damsel in distress.
But it's also like they're changelings. So is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
Troy? Am I
right,
supposed to believe that's actually her?
right. Which they have not really. That's something else. They have not used that. I was gonna ask you after this, which one of the cast do you think might be a changeling? Not necessarily the whole time. Who's our Bashir
Mm,
changeling here?
who? Oh my god, who could it be? Shaw?
Oh, maybe. You don't really know him though.
I mean, it could be. Well, exactly. So he could trick us all.
That's true. Now I'm
But that
wondering.
would be like a Lorca type reveal where it's like, well, we didn't know who he was supposed to be
Yeah,
in the first place.
yeah, we don't
Yeah,
know.
I did like the Lorca reveal,
He
but
was he's a mean guy. Now he's just a different mean guy. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um, Jordy,
Hmm.
because we find him at
Yeah, we
at the
didn't know what he was
museum,
doing out there. Yeah.
and he's just like, don't kill my daughter.
Yeah.
And she's like, I have to do this, Dad. You taught me to do this.
And he's like, I sure did. No, you didn't. You never did. Um. Maybe. Yeah. What if? Oh, there. Here you go. That's not Data 2. That's a changeling pretending to be Data 2. And then they just brought him on
The
board.
changeling is pretending to switch through personalities.
Oh my God, make Brent Spiner a changeling. Then he can do whatever he wants. He can play whatever at all. Yeah. Um, I don't, well, I have to lock in a pick. All right, this is cheesy, but I'm going to say it first.
Sure.
Troy. I think the Troy that we see is not the real Troy.
I mean, it's like, am I supposed to believe that it is? Do they want me to believe that it is? Because why would I believe
clearly
that when
they
they're
do.
it's a ship full of changelings.
They have miscalculated, though, haven't they? Yeah, if that's what they want us to
Mm,
think. But my point is that she's not a damsel in distress. She knows how important it is. You can definitely play against like, well, I'll hurt him and or hurt her, and we'll see how far you guys can really take this game. But they're both going to be like, do whatever you want. You know, Jean-Luc Picard's trying to save the galaxy. You
yeah.
know, I don't believe her as a damsel. Speaking of which, when did everybody stop respecting Jean-Luc Picard? Like after this season, I can see it, and they do have a line where he's like, "Put it on my tab." He has become that Picard, but I feel like when this series started, people are like, Jean-Luc Picard is always doing this stuff. You got the punk lady from the first season who's like, "F you." Was it the whole Romulan caravan thing? Like suddenly he went from, in the same way that Kirk went from like, you know, the stack of books on legs to like, here comes James Kirk. Suddenly everybody's like, we know what you're up to, Picard. You're gonna, you know, steal my.
You're being stinky.
I'm gonna buy a pizza and you're not gonna pay me back. It's in the Venmo. It's right there. Request. I don't know when that switch flipped.
I mean, it is. I think you know the elephant Borg in the room. Perhaps.
Maybe when he took that Fox News interview, and they're like, what are you doing? First episode, callback. Anything else that you can think of to say while I look through the chat here?
No, I mean, I hope that something bigger happens next week. You know, it feels like.
Oh well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I have a clue about what's going to happen next week. Phantom Casual says it's possible the practice of cremation is practiced, but my guess would be that they have more of the burial practices of today. You have a grave for like 5 years and have to find a new one. Ooh. Yeah.
Are people moving graves?
Something, I don't know, I guess. Something that I think that we have to sort of acknowledge is that this is a very progressive view of the future, but it's very traditional in a lot of ways. We're all in the military still, you know, et al. Drugs are bad, Wesley, eat something. And I think that nobody's complaining. I'm the only person on Earth who's going like, shouldn't they be cremating? Are they that worried about the body if they're not very spiritual? But we know that they are spiritual. But every time we see somebody die, Crusher's Nana pops out of the grave on planet Scotland. They're shooting Ivor Graves off. Yeah, there's always like a burial, or so clearly we have to take the text as it's given to us. They still value um, the body, the graves and burials and stuff like that. Which it's whatever, it's fine. What else? They both would have lost a son. Ooh, that's devious, Mika and Hana. Or a daughter. Ooh. And Phantom Casual says, when Picard rage quit the Admiralty, that's when, yeah, okay, sure, that's when he became unreliable. But he's the one who's like, it's the uniform and Starfleet. He's the one who's so into it. I think Riker likes his job, but I also think if Riker's doctor said, oh, you can't warp anymore, he'd be like, all right, we're going to make some pizza. I got a great life. I don't need to do this. So, and that's a good character arc for the guy who's so ambitious. He's got to get to that big seat, that big chair. You rent a grave in Europe. Huh. I just thought of a new sitcom.
Where are they putting the? Are they? This is a whole other. This is a different show. Where are they putting the bodies?
I don't know.
They're moving them, or they're just stacking them on top of each other.
You know what? Here's a plug. We've got a Discord. There's a link in the show notes, and you can come on the Discord. We've got an Enterprising Individuals channel, and we can talk all about what they do with bodies in Europe, because I'd love to know as well.
That's haunting.
I think that better be it for our show this week. Thanks for joining us, listeners, or viewers, if you like. If you like what you hear and see, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at EISTPOD for updates. And when new episodes come out, you'll know about it. Tweet to us on the show by using the hashtag Discoverage or emailing us at EISTPOD@gmail.com to tell us what's up. And while you're on the internet, head to your listening platform of choice. Give us a rating and a review, because that really does help us out. And if you like the show, tell a friend. Discoverage will return next week, March 30th, for the 7th episode of the 3rd season of Picard. It's an episode called Dominion. So, there you go. You wanted something big, you're getting the Dominion.
It'll be big. It's going to be big. And I will have to do my homework, so I remember the Dominion more.
I'll have to do mine, too. Remember the guy, Brian Thompson? He had the painted face, and they were like trading for Quatlus of something. Doesn't matter. We'll do our homework. We'll figure it out next week. We'll be here next Thursday to cover it. We'll be going live once again at 8 p.m. Central. So join us then. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook at EISTPOD to get notified when we're live and broadcasting. Ella, thanks as always for joining me to talk about tonight's episode of Picard and remind people where they can find you online.
Thank you. I do, all kinds of stuff, but follow me on Twitter at Gondor Gold.
Awesome. You can find me on Twitter at KA1IBAN. And just a reminder to subscribe to us here on Twitch. Hit the heart and hit the bell to get notified when we're live and broadcasting. That is it for us for this week. We will see you soon. And until then, we're signing off. This is Aaron Faella saying, live long and prosper.